What are some signs someone has had a hard life? I hoard food so much so, that today, Thanksgiving, I've already had to make a store run because a few of the things in my cabinet that I thought I could use, expired a while ago. I can make a meal out of almost anything. I can't go into a store unless I buy something. I flinch at loud sounds, fast movements. I'm constantly adjusting exit strategies and try to keep total situational awareness. I will hang out where people go to specifically drink. If I see a bag of trash on the side of the highway, I have a mini panic attack while I pass it in until I can't see it anymore. They don't whine and ask for help when things are hard, they just deal. They don't assume people like them or take basic goodwill for granted. Being obviously vulnerable feels dangerous, and they'll conceal it rather than complaining. If you show them you're a real one, you move up in their personal hierarchy and they see you in a different light after that. I heard a woman once say she had a really difficult life and now as a result she's as mean as a cobra. I find that people who've had hard lives can be incredibly patient, empathetic and understanding, but when someone crosses a particular boundary they can become as mean as a cobra out of self-preservation. One of the most common signs of a hard life is financial struggles. This can manifest in different ways, such as having difficulty paying bills, being unable to afford basic necessities, or living paycheck to paycheck. And health problems. Another sign of a hard life can be ongoing health problem. Signs that someone may have had a difficult life can include a guarded demeanor, emotional distance, a lack of trust, low self-esteem, or visible physical signs of hardship. However, it's important to remember that these signs are not definitive, and people cope with challenges in various ways. Staying unnaturally calm in situations when everyone is jumpy. Being somewhat indifferent most of the time. Remain unresponsive to little harm. These can be associated with other character types as well, but those who have seen a lot of hardship usually act this way. When people say "too bad kid, that's life, it's unfair, them's the breaks etc." I guess so many of us pass defeatism on to further generations because we are all, to an extent, burned out. I never want to lose hope, especially not pass hope on. They bring up some dark shit like it's not dark. Something like, "Yeah, my parents were crazy man, we weren't allowed to wear shoes upstairs." "Oh yeah, I know what you mean, we wore muzzles. Did everyone just get sad?" Trust issues. Scared to get close to people, push people away. Not fazed by situations that bother other people. Over-explain things. Come across as mean because they are trying to protect themselves from getting hurt again. People who face tough times might show signs like being very cautious or guarded, struggling to trust easily, or having a strong sense of independence. They might also have a deep empathy for others' struggles. Shake hands. Not all aspects of a hard life are emotional. If you shake hands with someone who's worked hard with their hands all their life, you recognize it right away. Two sides of the same coin. They can be compassionate and empathetic because they've walked in those shoes, or they're harsh and overly critical as a defense mechanism. I find people who have been through some shit have a great sense of humor. Possibly a coping mechanism, but some of the funniest people I have met have had a hard life. People who are unstressed by the things you're stressed about. I've had super rough times as a child, but I live a pretty privileged life now. That is the only tell. Bad teeth. People who have good easy lives get them taken care of early. Bad teeth often but not always means they grow up rough or had a bad turn for the worse. I worked with a guy that had FCK hammer tattooed across his stomach. The lines of the tattoo were broken up with stab wound scars. His stories were pretty wild. I would say out of the ordinary reaction on some problems. I've seen people panic at the smallest things because it reminded them of situations in their past. They're assholes. People who are hurt often push people away so they don't ever get the chance to hurt them. Their personality is a defense mechanism. Desensitization from the things that rattle the rest of us. Unfortunately I have this, but this does not make you inferior or dangerous in any way. It's depressing that, judging by a lot of replies to this question, a lot of people's only experience of hard life is TV and Hollywood cliches. They constantly apologize for things that aren't their fault and massively over-explain things in an effort to keep others from getting upset. They make sure that they're kind to anyone who is struggling and listen to their problems, especially when they're doing badly themselves. Teeth tell the story. Braces, routine cleanings don't only cost money, they require caring and organized parenting. When you work in retail, and you ask them, "Hi, how can I help you?" and their answer is, "No one can help me." They have lots of advice that sounds really genuine and you can tell it from their voice. They moved around a lot as a child and don't have any simple answers to basic questions. Like an abused dog, they jump at every shadow. I can't think of a more somber situation. Bald, has a mini version of themselves, and puts their pinky on the tip of their mouth, as someone who had a hard life. Always tired, desperate to be accepted and cry easily. Being unable to let your walls down and actually trust someone is a sign of trauma. Sometimes someone who flinches easily or gets more than startled, easily. They tell you a story they think is funny and it's actually just trauma. Overly apologizing and being hypersensitive to other people's emotions. Often their skin tells the story. Sun damage, alcohol abuse, drugs, etc. Writing a post on Reddit asking about other people who had a hard life. Drug abuse. The hard life happens long before the drug abuse starts. People who when shown kindness literally don't know how to take it. Being empathetic and understanding other people's struggles. Generally speaking, life is hard for the majority of people.